With smoke detectors being one of the most common type of devices on your fire alarm systems, let's take 2 minutes to talk about the location and spacing of our smoke detectors. Now, with smoke detectors, you have a lot of different options. You've got spot type, there's beam type detectors that are going to be utilized for large area coverage. You have your duct detectors, which are going to be for in-duct use, and you have your air sampling type. What we're going to be looking at for the most part is going to be the spot type because this is our most common type of smoke detector. Now, when it comes to the location of spacing, there's not a lot of restrictions with smoke detectors, and what I mean by that is the ceiling height doesn't play much of an issue. There's no restriction on how far away from the corners you can put your smoke detectors. If you're doing a wall mount of your smoke detector, it does have to be within 12 inches of the ceiling. This code gives us the spacing of 30 feet from one detector to the next, and there is an understanding that we do have to have a row of detectors within half the listed spacing or half the spacing of the device from the sidewall, or 15 feet. So, doubling down on what we were just looking at a second ago, if we are putting our smoke detectors on the ceiling, they can be anywhere on the ceiling, even in the corner. It's not going to affect or delay activation of the alarm if we put it in the corner. If we are doing them on the sidewall, they can be on the sidewall, anywhere on the sidewall, so long as we are no more than 12 inches from the ceiling. Now, when we look at the spacing from one detector to the next, we're going to utilize that code base 30 foot from one detector to the next when it comes to smoke detectors, our spot type. But we do have to have a row of detectors within 15 feet from the sidewall, no more than 15 feet off the sidewall. There are some factors that play into the possibility of adjustments, beam depth being one of those. If we're dealing with beams on the ceiling, they might play into a factor of making an adjustment. If the beam depth is less than 10% of the ceiling height, we're going to use flat ceiling spacing, no adjustment. However, if that beam depth is equal to 10% or greater than 10% of the ceiling height, and from one beam to the next, 40% or greater than the ceiling height, we're going to put all of the smoke detectors in the beam pocket. This plays a major impact on how many detectors we're going to need. So taking a look at it, here are the factors that are going to play into the adjustment: ceiling height, what is the beam depth in relationship to that, and what is the beam spacing in relationship to that ceiling height.